The hot seat is on, and this is the businesspal.com number 001. According to the Cooperative Development Authority, there are 24,652 cooperatives in the Philippines as of 2015. In addition, cooperative membership drastically went up from 7 million in 2010 to 14 million in 2015. But what literally cooperatives are? How can it help the financial status of every Filipino? Can we invest in cooperatives and earn money? What we have for today is Mr. Armand Bengco, the Executive Director of Colayco Foundation for Education Incorporated, host of the TV program Pisobilities, co-host a radio program with Francisco J. Colayco titled Pera Mo, Palaguin Mo, and the General Manager of KSK Coop. This interview is titled, What are Cooperatives and Things You Need to Check Before Investing on Them? In this interview, you will hear the difference of a cooperative to a corporation, to a bank and to a loan and savings association, the minimum number of people required starting a cooperative, the major type of cooperatives being put up in the Philippines, the types of cooperatives and which one is fit for growing your money. You will also hear if money inside cooperatives is insured or not, which government agency monitoring cooperatives in the Philippines, the type of membership in cooperatives and what are the benefits for each type, and finally, 5 things that you need to check before joining a cooperative. Now, let's get going. Armand, thank you for making this interview possible.
Yes, you're welcome, Michael, and I hope it will serve its purpose, lalo na for the website that you have put up.
Okay, so to start, let's go with your background. Let's start with your experience and background, why you have this passion to encourage people, especially Filipinos, to save and invest, especially in cooperatives.
For one, everything happened first with a purpose, but not really with a concrete plan. What do I mean? It was just Mr. Francisco Colayco and myself thinking of things that we would want to do to somehow help our countrymen in our own small way, specifically the segment of society who had demonstrated that they would want to have changes in their financial lives. I'm talking about overseas Filipino workers. So they are one clear segment of society that has demonstrated physically, emotionally, and psychologically that they're willing to make a sacrifice just to have a better financial life for their family. Mm-hmm. The cooperative, our being students and advocates of financial literacy and cooperativism, was just but natural because one way of really having a good chance of making it, being financially successful or independent, is via collective investing, wherein individuals pool their resources, band together to form an entity with a common goal, one vision that they will achieve if they are united, if they are together, and almost impossible if they do it alone. What do I mean? Cooperatives kasi, if I may define, mm-hmm. Cooperatives is simply a business organization. A business organization where the objective is to earn, learn, and help. It is very different from corporations. There are 4 ways to form a business entity. We're familiar with the 3. One is sole proprietorship. Second is partnership. Third is corporation. The 4th one is cooperatives. So cooperatives is a way of forming a business organization or a business entity. All businesses, they have to earn. we learn from our business organizations. It is only in cooperatives wherein it is specified that it should also help. In corporations, this is the buzzword now, corporate social responsibility, CSR, a way for corporations to help society or the environment that they are into. In cooperatives, it is clearly stated that they should earn, learn, and help as well.
Okay.
So, yun yung major difference ng cooperative sa mga korporasyon. Another difference between corporation and cooperatives, cooperatives enjoy some tax benefits wherein the members of the co-op, if their income or any money transaction within the cooperative is tax exempt. In corporations, they do not have that tax benefit. You must
Okay.
understand that corporations are formed by the original incorporators, yung mga nangangapital para magtayo ng isang korporasyon. Cooperatives are made up of members, at least or minimum 15 individuals putting up their share capital contribution to start their business organization in the structure called cooperatives. Corporations, 5 individuals can band together and agree among themselves how much each will contribute to put up the business organization.
Okay.
Another really major difference between corporation and cooperative, sa corporation, whoever has the most contribution in the initial capital or in the buong kapital ng isang korporasyon, siya ang majority owner, thus enjoy majority of the decisions, majority of the benefits, and etc. In a cooperative, each member has equal rights with other members. I'm talking about regular members. So, unlike in corporations, if one has contributed 51% of the capital, that individual with 51% contribution in the corporation's capital has majority ownership, thus majority decisions, accountabilities, and responsibilities. In a cooperative, regardless of your contribution, each member is equal to 1 vote. Or each member of the cooperative enjoys equal rights, benefits, and responsibilities and accountabilities compared to that of the corporation. So, I am not an expert yet of cooperatives. We consider ourselves students and advocates of it because we believe it is one way for an individual, if the individual has found an appropriate cooperative that he or she can join and be a member of, to have a good chance of having a successful or alternative avenue for him to save, invest, earn, learn, and help.
Okay, so Armand, how about cooperative versus a bank?
A bank is a financial institution. A cooperative is not automatically a financial institution. What do I mean? It just so happened that in the Philippines, cooperatives, 90% of cooperatives that have been put up are credit cooperatives. That's why it is almost always compared to a bank. A credit cooperative, members pool their money together and then they borrow money in the cooperative. That is why it is commonly compared to a bank, where depositors also get to become clients of the bank's lending services. But a cooperative, for example, can be a cooperative of fishermen who pool their resources, who at the end of the day puts together all their catch for the day and collectively sells it in the market. So that is one cooperative. I know of a cooperative of housewives in Moncada, Tarlac, wherein they
Okay.
pulled their resources and put up a drugstore or pharmacy. So cooperatives need not be automatically a financial institution. Unlike banks, automatically they are a financial institution. They have capitalists. Same with cooperative, meron silang kapitalista, yung mga member, pero it doesn't follow automatically that a cooperative will get into financial services or considered a financial institution. A co-op, like the co-op that we are helping manage, Kapatiran sa Kasaganaan Service and Multipurpose Cooperative, owns a rural bank. So it is not a co-op bank, it is a co-op owning the bank. Because a co-op as a business organization can get into what it desires, of course, as long as morally and legally right or allowed, it can get into any business endeavor it wishes to, a cooperative. So this cooperative that I just mentioned bought a 50-year-old rural bank and currently owns the rural bank. The co-op that I mentioned does not manage that bank. It is just a major investor of that bank.
Okay. How about cooperative versus savings and loan association?
Just like our comparison with the bank, most
Okay.
cooperatives kasi, as mentioned earlier, they are formed here in the Philippines. They are formed to provide financial services, specifically lending or credit. There are other cooperatives, more so abroad. They put up a cooperative to handle a common cause among the members. For example, housing. A big cooperative in Canada is the biggest developer because they are into housing. So, dito lang sa Pilipinas kasi, it is the reason, probably the reason why you asked it, is because in an organization, in a locality, meron na mga nagsama-sama and they try to decide, ano bang itatayo natin? Savings and Loan Association or a credit cooperative? If that is the comparison, there are pros and cons of cooperatives versus savings and loan association. Cooperatives, they enjoy tax benefits as mentioned earlier, and they get some assistance from the government, while savings and loan association are more private, more exclusive, though both savings and loan association and cooperatives, they both are judicial entities, meaning they have an identity of itself, by itself, separate and distinct from its members of the cooperative or clients of the savings and loan association.
Let's go deeper with the cooperatives, okay? So, you said previously that there's a credit cooperatives. So, what other types of cooperatives that we have here in the Philippines? And which one is the best for someone who wants to grow his or her money?
Okay. There are various or different kinds of cooperatives in the Philippines. We have the marketing cooperative, wherein this is, as the term connotes, they pool their resources so they can collectively promote, sell their products, goods, or services. There are producers cooperative, a producers cooperative in Nueva Ecija, na bawat magsasaka, nagtatanim ng palay, they have a fixed or guaranteed buyer already, binibigay nila lahat ng ani nila, all their harvest, to one common entity, which is a cooperative. So, that is called a producers cooperative. Very, very familiar or common in the Philippines. As mentioned earlier, 90% of cooperatives set up in the Philippines is a credit cooperative. Members
Okay.
of a credit cooperative pool their resources and then they extend financial services by way of lending money to their members. So, various kinds of cooperatives, as long as there is a common goal or objective of a group of people who have pooled their resources and formed a cooperative, anything and everything you can do with a cooperative. May you produce, market, or borrow and lend money, you can do so with a cooperative. If you do two or more services or activities in a cooperative, it will fall under the category of a multi-purpose cooperative. Meaning, if you are doing a marketing cooperative and a credit cooperative combined, you will now be considered a multi-purpose cooperative. Let me add pala, another form of cooperative that is becoming popular is a labor cooperative.
Okay.
Meaning, food crew, for example, of a popular food chain. The food crew or the employees of that chain of restaurants or fast food, the employees or the crew are members of the cooperative. So the fast food chain or the restaurant does not employ them on an individual basis. They have an engagement with the labor cooperative, and that labor cooperative provides the employees. The employees are actually members of that labor cooperative.
So, how about the money inside the cooperative? Is it insured, like in the banks?
In banks, they get to insure the deposits of the depositors or their clients by applying and being under the Philippine Deposit Insurance Corporation or PDIC.
Okay.
Unfortunately, all your money in a cooperative is not covered by PDIC. PDIC only insures deposits of banks under the Bangko Sentral ng Pilipinas or BSP.
So how about what government agency monitoring cooperatives?
Very
like banks?
Once an entity is serving or selling something to the public, a government agency should be responsible, or that entity should be under that government agency. For example, insurance companies are under the Insurance Commission. Investment companies like mutual funds, they are under the Securities and Exchange Commission or SEC. Banks, from rural banks, thrift banks, savings banks, universal commercial banks, they are under the Bangko Sentral ng Pilipinas. Those who sell goods or services, they are under Department of Trade and Industry. Cooperatives are under the Cooperative Development Authority or CDA. So all registered and Philippine recognized cooperatives should be under and following the Cooperative Code of the Philippines, under the supervision, guidance of Cooperative Development Authority or CDA.
So, do you report to CDA annually, or is there a method how CDA monitors the performance of cooperatives?
Just like what Securities and Exchange Commission, SEC, just like what SEC does with corporations, more so those investment companies, CDA or Cooperative Development Authority also audits, fiscalizes cooperatives registered under CDA. annually or every year, all cooperatives are required to do general assemblies, and after the general assembly of any cooperative, they should be submitting their annual report. And from what I learned from the new or amended Cooperative Code of the Philippines, CDA or Cooperative Development Authority will also require quarterly reports from all registered cooperatives.
Okay, so if someone or a group of people wants to build or wants to have a cooperative, it should be under or supervised by the CDA.
Cooperative Development Authority.
Yes, okay. So, with regards to the membership, what's the difference between regular and an associate member?
There are two kinds of membership in a cooperative. By law or by the Cooperative Code of the Philippines, they are identified as regular member or associate member. They are actually almost very, very similar, identical, except that a regular member gets to vote during general assemblies or any item that needs votation on. A regular member can also be voted as member of the board or any position that is to be filled up by way of votation. An associate member is not allowed to vote but can participate in the discussion or in the exercise of all member duties and responsibilities except at the time of voting. Usually, the difference between the regular and associate member is based on the number of share capital contributed by the individual. Depending on the bylaws of a cooperative, for example, a cooperative may set as a rule that a regular member should have 100 share capital contributed, and anyone who has 99 shares or lower as share capital contribution is just considered an associate member, thus cannot vote. And anyone beyond 100 shares is considered a regular member and therefore can vote. So it will depend on the bylaws of a particular or specific cooperative on what the qualifications of a regular or associate member in that cooperative. But everything else, the benefits, the way dividends or patronage income is computed is the same, whether you're a regular member or associate member. The only distinct difference is that the regular member can vote, while the associate cannot vote.
Okay, so Armand, you mentioned about dividends. What's the average percentage of return?
Please remember the nature of cooperatives. Cooperatives is a business organization. So simply, the members put money to put up a business organization or a business entity. So, just like in any business, whether it's sole proprietorship, corporation, or cooperative, it cannot give guaranteed returns. What does guaranteed return mean? It means it cannot promise the return in the form of dividends or patronage income. It cannot promise the return any cooperative can give. No cooperative can give a guaranteed return. Because any cooperative, just like any business, even if it's a corporation, hindi mo alam kung ano mangyayari sa isang takdang panahon. 1 year may give you 12% return, another year even 22% return, or
Mhm.
no return in a particular period,
Yes.
because it will depend on the business performance of that entity. That entity may be a corporation or a cooperative or a sole proprietorship.
Okay, so if I want to be a member to a cooperative, so what are the things should I check?
Number one, if they are registered with the Cooperative Development Authority. Number
Okay.
two, understand the reason why that cooperative was put up.
Okay.
Number three, check out the people behind the cooperative.
Mm-hmm.
Number four, if you are qualified to join the cooperative. What do I mean if you are qualified? Because not everyone and all of us can join one particular co-op. What do I mean? A cooperative
Okay.
is put up for a purpose and with a common bond. Ito yung malaking pagkakaiba ng corporation sa cooperative.
Mhm.
Sa cooperative, it is clearly identified what is the common bond among the members of the cooperative. For example, a cooperative in Moncada, Tarlac, their common bond is they are all housewives residing in Moncada, Tarlac. Or a fisherman cooperative in Sarangani, all members, the common bond is they are fishermen in Sarangani. So, I, a business executive from Manila, cannot join and not qualified to be
Okay.
a member of that Sarangani Fishermen Cooperative or the Moncada Housewives Cooperative, even if I have the money to contribute a share capital, or even if they are performing very, very well, giving 10, 15, 20% dividend per year. Simply put, I am not qualified because I am not part of their common bond.
Oh, okay.
One,
Mhm.
check if they are registered cooperative with the CDA and if they're
Yes.
in good standing. Number two, check out the reason why that cooperative was put up. Number three, check out the people behind, if they are reputable enough, if they are, people of good standing. Number four, if you are qualified to become a member of that cooperative because you fall under the common bond of that cooperative. Number five, attend their pre-membership orientation. Most of them are free among cooperatives who they offer that free to individuals who are qualified and interested to join their cooperative, and understand what is your obligation and what are the things that you can expect from that cooperative. So, simply put, Michael, a cooperative is very different from a bank or a mutual fund or an insurance company because anyone, the general public, can just come in and become a client.
Yes.
A cooperative, it was initially put up by people of the same interest. There is a common bond that there's some form of quote-unquote exclusivity because not any Tom, Dick, and Harry can join any cooperative that he or she desires to.
So earlier, Armand, you mentioned a certain cooperative that you created with Francisco J. Colayco. Can you share more about that?
Because of our financial literacy efforts, endeavors that we do, because of the financial literacy seminars that we do overseas, catering to OFWs, it was just but natural for OFWs, our audience back then, after learning, getting exposed to mutual funds, getting into business, how to properly save, budget, and do financial planning, they thought of what entity out there that they can be part of so that they can continue on and provide them the saving and investing opportunities, even if they are outside of the country, but very much still a Filipino. That gave birth to Kapatiran sa Kasaganaan Service and Multi-Purpose Cooperative. It is a cooperative of OFWs.
Okay.
That is the common bond, OFWs or former OFWs. So, an engineer based here in the Philippines who has never been an OFW cannot be a member of this cooperative. They have to be an OFW or former OFW. That is the common bond. And the purpose or goal is to provide them with saving and investing opportunities. That is why from the share capital, the contribution of each member of KSK Co-op, Kapatiran sa Kasaganaan Service and Multi-Purpose Cooperative or KSK Co-op, they bought a bank, they became investors of various businesses, they put up a food company, we ran a Chinese fast food restaurant there in Cebu.
Okay. Mm-hmm.
And some food businesses. The KSK Co-op co-owns a boutique hotel here in Makati and other businesses that the co-op has gotten into, has gotten out, and will get into in the future with the objective of providing them saving and investing opportunities. If you will ask what is the benefit for the member who is an OFW or former OFW, number one, learning, because modesty aside, coming from the advocates of financial literacy, Francisco Colayco and myself, they get financial literacy almost free, if not completely free, just because they are members of KSK Co-op. Number two, the Co-op provides fulfillment facilities. Imagine the Co-op member, KSK Co-op member, kahit saan siya sa mundo, basta siya ay KSK Co-op member, siya ay nasisilbihan ng KSK Co-op para sa kagustuhan or nais niyang mag-ipon o magpalago.
Mm-hmm.
Lastly, bakit sasali ang isang OFW or former OFW sa KSK Co-op? Dahil mayroong mga produkto or serbisyo na inaalok ang KSK Co-op para siya ay makapag-ipon at makapagpalago ng kanyang pera. For example, the KSK Co-op has a tie-up with a publicly listed agricultural company in the Philippines where it provides fixed return to KSK Co-op members for the money that they participate in that program. Another flagship service that we do for KSK Co-op members is we help or facilitate directly their mutual fund investment, wherein if wala ang KSK Co-op, that OFW in Israel, Hong Kong, Middle East, or in Europe would have to do it by himself, more tedious to invest in a mutual fund. Collectively, KSK Co-op helps the individual KSK Co-op member invest directly in a mutual fund. So, various products and services are offered to the KSK Co-op member for their desire to save and invest.
So, Armand, can you share a success story of one of your members because of KSK Co-op?
I can think of right away, number one, an individual KSK Co-op member who before would just put her 50,000 pesos in a savings account.
Okay.
Earn 0.25%. That is the savings rate of a savings account. Will just earn her 12 pesos and 50 centavos per year.
Oh,
Her
okay.
50,000 in a savings account will just earn her 0.25% or 12 pesos and 50 centavos in a year. Imagine, huh? But because of KSK Co-op, and she participated in our regular saving and investing program, this is the service that we provide, or the service that KSK Co-op provide to its co-op members, wherein we facilitate their mutual fund investment. Her 50,000 in May 2010 was 131,000 in May 2015. It more than doubled in 5 years.
Yes.
From 50,000 to 131,000. There are also not so successful stories, because as mentioned earlier, just like a corporation or sole proprietor, cooperatives is putting up businesses. The food business that we have put up in 2010, we have closed shop in 2015.
Oh, yes.
Because the business was not making or beating up to its potential. So I don't want to present everything positive, everything glowing, or everything shiny as far as our KSK Co-op is concerned. As realistic as it is why all individuals who be interested to join any cooperative should really understand what that cooperative purpose or primary objectives are. In our case, KSK Cooperative, we want to educate, we want to provide fulfillment facilities, and we provide or make available products and services for their saving and investing. We definitely do not, cannot, will not guarantee money to be doubled in a year, in 2 years, or 3 years, but provide real, legit ways to grow your money. But just like how investing is defined, investing is a commitment to use money, expecting to make more money based on long-term goals. Simply, walang siguradong investment, maging ito ay sa bangko, sa isang negosyo, sa lupa, sa cooperative.
Yeah. So, Armand, if they have more questions, how they can contact you?
If you are interested with financial literacy, mga kaalaman sa tamang paghawak ng inyong pananalapi, visit our website www.colaycofoundation.com. If you are an OFW or former OFW or kamag-anak ng OFW and would want to have an alternative to save and invest, check the website www.kskcoop.com.
Okay, so thank you very much, Armand, for your ideas and advice about cooperatives. If you want to listen more interviews, just visit and subscribe to thebusinesspal.com. Don't forget to share this interview. That's it for now, guys.